friends. This Beaver Report has been brought to you by all the American corporations that actually own Canada. So let's give a hand for corporate America. They're wonderful people and they're just doing everything they can for this country. Well, I thought I would take us on a tour across this great northern white wilderness and show you just how many things that Americans don't know about their northern neighbors. For instance, did you know that our igloos now have flush toilets? Yes, all of them do. Modern plumbing supplies have been airdropped into Canada from our wonderful American neighbors to enable us to flush inside all our igloos. We have had the Trans-Canada Highway built for many years, but did you know that there is an actual lane for dog sleds on the Trans-Canada Highway? Now, this is probably not a well-known fact about Canada, and that's why I'm here. As a Canadian, I figure it's my job to inform more Americans about the socialist paradise here up in the north. If you're an American and traveling in Canada, it is essential that you understand our monetary system. We have coins instead of dollar bills, and we have loonies. They're called loonies, and I'm not making this up. They are called loonies, and the $2 bill is called a toonie. It's recommended that when you travel in Canada, you bring along a huge satchel to have as many of these as possible to throw at the peasants who will no doubtedly assault you begging for these loonies and toonies. I think they're around 50 to the American dollar. So if you're traveling to Quebec, you will no doubt encounter the friendly Québécois who will greet you with a hearty maudit anglais or mange la marde. This is the traditional Québécois greeting for their English-speaking brothers. So if you're going to Quebec, it's always a good idea to have a lot of loonies and toonies on you to throw at the local natives who will no doubt appreciate you, but not as much as if you have those American dollars, because all of a sudden they will realize how wonderful you are and how great it is to have tourists, and just, man, you can have what you want in Quebec. So that's if you go to Quebec. Now, in Canada, there are some very sad developments with regard to the national snack, the beaver tail. The cruelty involved in the beaver tail trade is well known, and we have established several sanctuaries for tailless beavers as people horrendously raise them in captivity and chop their tails off to make a Canadian snack called the beaver tail. It's one of the great national shames that we feel as Canadians. But speaking of beavers, if you're interested in beavers, Canada's the place to be, because they have the International Beaver Racing Championship every year in Canada. So make sure you book early, because it's a very popular event and the beavers are the best in the world. There's just none better. So come on up to Canada and enjoy the beaver races. Canada's a really big country, so if you go coast to coast, you'll find different cultures in different parts of the country. Now, if you go to Alberta, they have something called the Calgary Stampede, where they torture animals for entertainment. It's a great big thing, and you wear hats and everything, and every year several horses die during the chuck wagon races, and that's just the way it is. I mean, that's part of the entertainment. So go on down to Calgary in the summer, and you can go and wear a big cowboy hat and enjoy the tormenting of animals to your heart's content. And of course, no trip to Alberta, Canada's redneck state, province, sorry, but they want to be a state, would be complete without a trip to the famous tar sands in Alberta. Yes, the tar sands, providing the world with much needed energy. Energy, that's what we need. It doesn't matter if it's the filthiest oil on earth, we're going to sell it because we're going to make a buck from it. And there's nothing you can do about it. And we'll just run it through pipelines down to Louisiana, and then they can sell it to the Chinese or whatever they want to do with it. And there's nothing you can do about it. After visiting the tar sands in Alberta, we can move west to BC and visit the largest clear cut in the history of humanity, right there. And you can play amongst the stumps and the children there. It's a great photographic experience. So visit beautiful BC. And after you're done with that, you can go down to Vancouver and visit the junkies down on Hastings Street. I think they're running tours to display the homeless in their cages down there. Don't quote me on that. No trip to Canada would be complete without visiting Newfoundland and Labrador. Yes, the East Coast, the home of wonderful music and Newfie jokes. So if you're looking for a really good time, go there. And if you're in Newfoundland or any of the Atlantic provinces, remember to visit the abandoned fisheries. Yes, the abandoned fisheries, because trawlers from all over the world like to come to Newfoundland shores and just vacuum up those fish. You just vacuum them right up so that the local fishermen had nothing left. So what they had to do was start up the expired fish museum. Where there was once fish, there is nothing left but a museum. And if you're visiting Ontario, be sure to go up north and visit Canada's largest expired uranium mine. Be sure to visit the gift shop on your way out, where you can take some actual uranium-loaded rocks home with you. Yes, just because we like to spread the joy of the Canadian experience around the world. We want to spread nuclear power far and wide. So yes, drop by the world's largest expired uranium mine. Just don't buy any houses on top of it, because they're cheap and it's a good deal, but you might have problems down the road. I'm not disparaging our housing situation here in Canada. It's wonderful. We've got millions and millions of people and not enough houses to go around, so they just charge millions and millions of dollars for the houses that are here. It makes perfect sense. Make sure you try Canadian cuisine, and maybe you can catch sight of a polar bear floating on an ice floe and desperately trying to find food. We love entertainment like that up here. So here's to Canada, America. Come and visit us. During your stay in Canada, I highly recommend the local cuisine. Now, it's wonderful. There's some things that Americans might not be used to up here, so I will go through a list of the things that you should and shouldn't try. Well, for one thing, you've got to try the maple dipped sailfin. It's just wonderful, and it's crispy, and it's got that just the right amount of savory spices and everything. So that's a go. The other things are a little bit questionable. Well, it's been a long week. And what happened to me this week? Well, one thing that happened to me this week was that I went onto YouTube, clicked on a video, and I got this dreaded notice. Your video has been removed due to violating our community standards for medical misinformation. And I'm going, what? So, of course, I immediately checked it. It was the video, an angry old hippie complains about everything, and I was making fun of anti-vaxxers. And I guess the thing is that the bots that control the censorship in the tubular universe actually can't get sarcasm. They don't understand it. It doesn't Sarcasm is just a language they will never understand because everything's supposed to be logical and everything. So I immediately appealed this, and it was really amazing. Like within 5 minutes, all I put was, please have a human review this. This is not medical misinformation. And within 5 minutes after I launched my appeal, they restored my video. Hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you, Tubular Universe, for actually having a human look at one of my videos that I'm sure no human has ever seen before. Thank you to the fine tubular gods who overturned that and lost me at least one view. So this is just how it rolls these days with AI running everything. And what is AI? Artificial intelligence. And they got that chat, GPT, GDX, GYC, whatever. Just the nightmare of people not thinking anymore is terrifying. It's horrible. And it's gonna end the human race. Okay, nobody will think anymore because they'll just have this chat GPT or GTX or one of the chat things do all their thinking for them, and their brain will atrophy, and there'll be these little horrible platelets that form in their brains until all they are is like right-wing lunatics, and their brain solidifies, and then it gets harder and harder to get in there, and you can knock on their heads and nothing gets through ever, except for the plug-in that they have to plug into their brain, which is the Fox Media empire, Rupert Murdoch and his slimy Australian reptiles crawling all over this planet. I've had enough.